All right, guys, let's talk about making some art here this year in art class. We're going to start off the year with a visual journal introduction. Okay? Visual journal is one of my all time favorite things because it offers you a chance to create something that you want to create. You get to choose the materials that you use, you get to choose the subject matter that you're depicting in your pages. And you get to experiment with new materials if you want to, or you get to use materials that you're comfortable with. We're not going to be getting into making the books just yet. You can see this one is nice and bound, and all the pages are stuck inside the cover. This one has not been bound yet, but it's got the cover in the front and the back. We're going to be focusing right now on just the pages. Now, the pages are special in one way because they are just a regular size sheet of paper halved. All right, so I have them here for you to use when you are in school, but if you decide that you need to do a journal page at home and you don't have the specific paper, you can just take a piece of copy paper, fold it in half, and use that for your visual journal page. Now, like I said, you're welcome to use any materials you want. Anything that I have in the room is free game. Anything that you have at home is also something that you're welcome to use. All right, there's paints, there's markers, there's pencils, there's magazines to collage, there's newspapers, there's oil pastels, and on and on and on and on and on. So you get to do what you want to do. And the reason that I do this is because when we do a project together, I give you requirements, specific materials to use, specific sizes, specific things to paint or to draw. And this is your chance to kind of branch out and do whatever you'd like to do. But there are a few requirements for the journal page. Let's look at an example first, though, or a couple. Here are a couple student examples. Okay, we're going to analyze these real quick, and we'll look at them again later. All right, maybe I'll keep this one right here. This page is fulfilling every single requirement that I'm asking you to for these journal pages. Number one, there needs to be some art, some type of art, drawing, painting, collage, something like that. It's got some drawing in it, which is fantastic. It's got some cut paper collage in here. It's got some collage with a piece of magazine cut out. It's also got some fiber art here by punching through to the other side and sewing this yarn through it, which is great. Number one, art. Number two, there has to be some text. It's a journal. We want to write something on here, even if it is covered up, even if it is not really legible or not really neat. That's absolutely fine. But I'm looking for 14 or more words. That's about 2 to 3 sentences. You do not have to write in complete sentences. You can write all sorts of different words or make a list if you want. And like I said, if we end up covering it up and a lot of it is hard to read, that's absolutely fine too. It's just meant to show that you've thought about the prompt. Number three is fill the page. We're only working with a half sheet of paper here. It should be no problem for you to fill that up. And it's definitely been done here. The cut paper goes right over to the edge. Everything's filled in with interesting colors and everything like that. And last is craftsmanship. Just like every other project, we want to take our time. We want to make it look nice. And we want to pay attention to details. If these look like you've only spent a couple minutes sketching something quickly on them, then that's not going to be acceptable. All right? So let's talk about what you are making the picture of. We talked about the materials already. Your first journal page assignment is you. Okay? We're going to have other one-word prompts like this, such as fear or love, or hate, or, I don't know, food, mistake. Okay, these are the type of prompts that you're going to get for your visual journal pages. A single word, and that's it. No extra description. You get to decide what that means to you and how you're going to show that on the page. Now, I don't know what the prompt was for this one. This might have been a you page about the person, but it could be a number of things. For instance, imagine if I gave you the prompt for food and you drew an airplane. Now, at first, that doesn't really make sense, but if that prompt, the idea of food, triggers a memory in your head about flying in an airplane and eating the peanut snacks that they gave you, and seeing sometimes when you go up high, the bag gets all puffed up and that can make you nervous or something like that. Then that would make sense for food. If it makes sense to you and you can explain it to me, then you can pretty much do whatever the heck you want on these pages. So you have freedom of materials. You have freedom of subject matter because you can relate these topics to pretty much anything. And that's what's great about these, is that you're able to do pretty much whatever the heck you want. All right, let's look at a few examples and let's talk about how to get started in this. I'm going to show you some of mine. All right, this is my visual journal page I've been working on for years. Check this out. All right, I started off by writing. You can see in gray some pieces of words all over this paper. All right, I wrote all over the back. Now, what did I write? I don't really know. I was thinking about the prompt. I think this was the internet was the prompt, or maybe the future or something like that. And I was just writing whatever popped into my head when I thought about that all over the back. After I did that, I was able to come up with an idea based on the writing that I put down to add all this other stuff on top of it. And now, like I said before, it's absolutely fine that I can't read all the writing or hardly any of the writing, but it adds all this interesting texture to the background, which I really like. Now, you don't have to do it this way. You can incorporate your writing into the design of the page, which is also a great thing you can do. I'm not sure if you can see, but there are different blacks on here. This was my fear page. I'm afraid of the dark. So I tried to make it as black as possible, and then I used my words to kind of go over and along with the art or the design in the rest of the page. Okay, here are a few more of my examples. This was a dream I had. It really freaked me out. This was about an old girlfriend. This is my You page about me. You can see I did some painting with the green back here. I did some cut paper on top. I did writing, and I did some colored pencil drawing of eyes, which is something that I like to draw all the time. All right, this one's also one of my favorites. A lot of mixed media. That's what I like about these, is you can put a lot together. There's paint. This maroon paper, I actually painted this color, and then I put all the lines on it. I chopped it out. I glued it on. I actually punched holes in the paper and sewed through it. And then in light yellow-orange marker, I did my writing for this one on there, incorporating it into the design. Okay? I'll show you some more student examples in a second, but I want to talk to you about how to start, because when we have this, blank paper can be very intimidating. So how do we start? Option number one, just start writing. Just like that first one I showed you, I just started writing. Whatever was in my head, spelling doesn't count, complete sentences don't count, just whatever's there, I put it down on the paper. All right, I'm still working on just filling this out. All right, option number two is just go ahead and create a background, something to fill in. This is pretty interesting. This could be the background for just about any visual journal page. All right, same thing here. Same thing here. All right, we've already got two of the requirements fulfilled in a lot of these. The page is full, and we've got some art, some visuals on there, which is what we're looking for. All right, putting the two together, you could end up with something like this. All right, I did some sloppy writing at an angle because I thought it might look interesting about the topic. This is another fear one, actually. After that, I painted over the whole thing. I tried to get it nice and gray. It wasn't dark enough, so that I tore some of this black paper and glued that down on top. Now I've got my writing. I've got my page filled. I've got some visuals I'm going to draw on top of this. And the craftsmanship is looking pretty good, especially when I do my drawing on top. That will show up. All right? So do not be intimidated by this white page. Just get started, whether you're just writing or whether you're creating a background to put stuff on top. Get it started, and then it'll be easier to go forward. All right? Your first assignment, your first prompt is you. Figure out what that means to you. Figure out what you want to depict in your design, and remember the 4 requirements for the visual journal page. That's what you're working on today. You're welcome to use any of the materials that I've got out. Just make sure you clean up after yourselves and enjoy the rest of your day.